Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It is brought to you by the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort and the Gallery Bar Booking Games. The place to be this football season, Ocean Casino. Go to the Gallery, go to Ocean, go for the win. For more, visit oceanac.com. Adam Caplan from the Inside the Birds podcast, which you can get on all podcasting platforms, is back as we take a look at this Eagles team that, obviously was a tale of two halves, Adam Caplan. We heard from Kevin Petula today. He was asked if his team was too conservative on the state of the Eagles passing game, and he didn't think conservative was the right word, but his players seemingly used that word.
Yeah, Mike, Petula is an interesting guy. He's a first-year calling plays. He's been very involved with the Eagles passing game for a number of years. And he's worked closely with Hurts. This is their fifth year together. They both know each other very well. And he kind of knows what works and what doesn't work for Hurts because he knows him. And Jalen knows it, Kevin, very well. So they have a developing relationship in terms of play caller now and quarterback, and that's just going to take some time. But what I said, and this is my issue with the passing game, or really the philosophy overall, which I want to get into, Mike, but in terms of the passing game, it's a situation where you got to decide what you want to be, right? Like, everybody knows the talent level of A.J. Brown. Dallas Goedert had the big play. A.J. Brown had an amazing second half. You saw what Devontae Smith did, several big plays in the game. So you'd ask yourself, well, why can't you come out throwing the football? Well, here's the problem. You have Saquon Barkley, who set an NFL record for one season through the Super Bowl for total yardage. But my argument against it is, but it's not working. This is my argument, Mike, on our post-game show. If it's not working, try something else. This is when I would be so mad at Andy Reid for passing all the time. When I didn't quite understand back then, early in my career, why are they doing this. I would later understand you pass early, then you run late to win. But my thing was when McNabb would struggle, Mike, I would say, well, why don't you run the football? You have a choice. Well, here it's not Barkley's fault. My understanding is, Mike, they're not the run blocking has not been what we're used to seeing. Now, what's been the issue with the run blocking as we get into the Eagles' offense, Mike? Before we get back to the passing game, Landon Dickerson coming back from 2 surgeries, he doesn't look quite like himself. Cam Jurgens, as Greg Cosell will tell, for folks who want to watch it, it's on all of our platforms already. The Inside the Tape show. Listen to what Greg talked. I asked him point blank, "What are you seeing from their offensive line?" Greg will tell you about Cam Jurgens. So they're clearly not blocking well for the run. So my point is, while the pass blocking isn't quite as what it used to be, it's still very good. Mike, throw the football. Let Hurts get into a rhythm. Even if it's not working, keep trying. They've got, with this group at receiver, you've got and tight end with Goddard, and with this line's ability to pass block, throw the football. That's my issue right now with Petula. It's not the play calling. It's his play calling for what I'm told by multiple people who I respect, who work in the NFL. I'm not going to tell you who they work for or how I got the information, Mike. I asked them to take a look at the Eagles' offense if they have a chance. Both said it's not a play calling issue. Now you could look at some parts about their philosophy, which I could question. You could ask, what's wrong with Hurts? Why isn't he more accurate? Why isn't he processing like he did in the second half? That's a completely different issue.
Well, then what is the overall philosophy of this Eagles offense? We know last year they wanted to run the football. So what is their philosophy in year number 2 with this group of guys?
All right, Mike. So on that, this is what I would do going forward. I'm glad we set it up this way. They have to be willing to not be so run-heavy. Last year, they were the only NFL team to run the ball more than they pass it in the first half of games. That's unheard of, as you know, Mike. The Eagles always want to pass, but when you get Saquon Barkley and it's working, I get that. Stick with it. I got no problem with it, but it's not working. I would stop trying to be so run-centric. I would be more of a pass team first, mix in Barkley. If Barkley is going off, okay, you can make it more balanced. But now I know that the Eagles were behind. They had to throw a lot. Hurts' processing was phenomenal in the second half. He struggled a little bit with it in the first half. He got himself together. I'm not saying you're not throwing every down. That's not what I mean. But I would tilt it more heavily to the pass. And let's see what happens. So on your question, Mike, to finish this discussion off on the philosophy, I would go more to the pass because right now, Mike, they have no philosophy. We're trying to figure out what their identity is. They don't really have one.
All right, Adam Caplan, Football at 4 from the Inside the Birds podcast. And, of course, Jordan Davis was a huge story in the game on not only special teams but defense. He made a huge third down stop chasing Matthew Stafford down. So what is this reformed Jordan Davis's expectations moving forward here? I mean, because you can make an argument that, when they drafted this guy in the first round, you were hoping to get more from him than you got his first 3 seasons.
Mike, this is an interesting situation with Jordan Davis. So we don't need to rehash much of this, but we know for the first 2 and 3 quarters of his career, he'd been a bust. I mean, he'd been very disappointing. Our job at Inside the Birds is not to be overly critical or overly positive. Our job is to teach and help people understand and bring you behind the scenes and explain why things are happening. So Jordan Davis, from what I'm told, would tell people close to the team or coaches, front office, players, whoever, hey, man, this is my year. I'm working hard. I'm doing the right things. Well, then you would see he was still overweight last season. Though he did lose weight last season, but he would say a lot, but it would never happen. So there was a thought like, okay, dude, like you keep talking about how good you think you could be and how you've committed yourself. Well, where is it? We're not seeing it. Well, it happened late last season. And as you know, he lost 25 pounds this offseason. When I saw him at training camp, I was shocked, Mike, when I saw he had no stomach anymore. I'm like, because he was very broad. If you saw him, I'll tell you, 6'6". But, his gut was out. Well, he had no gut anymore. And I was like, this is unbelievable. Let's see what happens. And now Greg Cosell did tell us, and you'll see this, we'll give you a nugget here. I asked Greg on Inside the Tape, the defensive show, okay, what happened with the run defense, and was Davis a part of it, and why the run defense struggled. He did say Davis unfortunately had a couple plays where he reverted back to getting stood up, which is a problem for him. But other than that, Mike, he's been lights out. Great kid, by the way. He says the right things. He had to do it, doing it. Now, the question is, Mike.
He almost seemed, Adam, just to interject real quick.
Yeah.
He almost seemed like one of those big guys who was almost too nice.
Yes, okay. I'm going to bring up something. This is on my agenda here today. The knock on him from a scouting standpoint, Mike, because you brought it up, is that he liked football, didn't love it. And that was it. I got that from multiple scouting people at the time the Eagles drafted him. And I was like, wow, he may never be a good player because it's not that important to him. Well, Mike, you're right. If you hear him speak, he's phenomenal. He's a great public speaker. But you got to back it up. And now he's backing it up, Mike. But I don't know him. I just know people have dealt with him, for a number of years and been around him. He's a great kid. He does care, but it had to reflect on the field. You could whatever career people are in, you could say the right things, but until you actually do the right things in whatever vocation you have, it's just all talk. And now he's doing it. It's a great story. I wanted us to talk about him today because I know a lot of people have gotten on us over the years about him, but we were only telling the truth. Our job is not to be overly critical. We want people to learn. And now his technique is better. His weight is ridiculous. He might actually be 335, which is, I would contend he had to be 370 or more at one point. He looked phenomenal. Great for him. I'm really happy for the kid.
Well, I'll tell you what. You can make an argument that he's had a bigger impact this year than his buddy Jalen Carter over there.
That's a little strong. But now he did not really play that well this last game.
All right, let's get into the Eagles' injury situation for Sunday. It's early, but we know Tampa. We'll get on to them in a minute. They have some big injuries. Where is Philadelphia? Yeah,
now Will Shipley, he just has to get clear for contact with his broken ribs. If he does, he'll play. McKee's really close to being the number 2 quarterback. He's now thrown for 2 weeks in practice. Sam Howell, obviously, is the 2 until he comes back. McKee will be the 2 when he comes back. Lane Johnson told reporters he'll be good to go from the stinger. Darius Cooper, this is disappointing. He hurt his shoulder. We don't know the severity of it. Mike, he's actually been in the block. I don't know if you've noticed that. It's been kind of weird. And then the big one, there was Adoree Jackson with a groin injury. He didn't return, and you saw Jacorian Bennett fill in. So that's something to watch this week because, Mike, the Bucs, now we'll get to them in a minute, but they'll play plenty of 11 personnel, which is 3 receivers. And if Chris Godwin's able to play, now let's get over to the Bucs, Mike. Todd Bowles, their head coach, played down the strain. It sounds like it's a grade 1 hamstring strain. Mike, I don't know if you know, it's had chronic hamstring problem for over a decade. It'll be real. I'd be very surprised if he played. Even if it's a minor
the way he
strain,
left that game on Sunday throwing his helmet, you could tell he knew he was hurt.
I can't imagine he'll play. Even if it's a minor strain, which, by the way, is the the higher up it is on your hamstring, the less likely a player will play. Like when Trey Turner hurt his hamstring, he had a grain of one. He knew it wasn't high up in his hamstring. He knew he wouldn't be like last year's where he was out 6 weeks, which is a grade 2 or 3. So I'd be surprised. But, man, this Emeka Ibuka has been great. Chris Godwin may play this week. They're hopeful for Tristan Wirfs. They had 4 offensive line changes to start the season. I don't know how they're doing it, Mike. They keep winning at the end there. But this will be a fun game, and we know it's been a house of horrors the last 2 times the Eagles went there. But let's not forget, week 4 last year, Mike, same time, same week, you know who didn't play? Lane Johnson, the 2 best receivers. So let's be real.
I was going to say, they were down a couple guys. The Eagles were in that game last year. But, yes, they've had trouble against Todd Bowles, and I know John McMullen asked Petula today about Bowles, and he didn't really give him an answer.
I was surprised by that. Yeah, I thought we'd get a little bit better answer, but that's okay. It doesn't matter.
Good effort there. Good effort, John.
Yeah, I know. I get Johnny Mack asking the question, but I think folks have to be like everyone was killing Kellen Moore last year after the great game against Green Bay. They were killing him. I know people don't want him to learn on the job because he's new at it, but you also can't. Some people want him fired or reassigned after 3 weeks. I mean, come on. Let's. I get the anger. You got to let this thing play out. And look, Mike, if we're at week 8 still talking about this, we'll have a little bit of a harder conversation.
All right, real quick before we let you go, C.J. Gardner-Johnson was released today, and I would imagine if the Eagles were having major safety problems, you would hear an uproar of people. Although I will tell you, I'm a little surprised at my timeline of people saying, make the call, Howie, but there's a reason he's not here, and it looks like Houston found that reason out.
Yeah, my buddy Aaron Wilson, who I've known forever, had listen, when he gets cut, I'm like, okay, there's obviously something going on with Gardner-Johnson. When you know it, Aaron, if you follow him on X, he put it out there that he questioned some things behind the scenes. That's going to get you cut. And by the way, I looked up, they restructured his contract, and it was an easy contract to cut. So, yeah, no, the Eagles are set. Drew McCouba was drafted to replace him. McCouba's playing really well. There's nothing there. You know, it's crazy. C.J. Gardner-Johnson's a pretty good football player, but think about this, Mike. Twice with the Eagles. Saints didn't want him. Lions didn't want him. That's it, man. Texas cut him.
That's a shame.
At what point, Mike, is he going to accept that he needs to be a better teammate and do the better job?
It's a shame that he can't see that. I mean, he did win a Super Bowl here, so obviously, he wasn't so disruptive that you couldn't win with him, but he was disruptive enough that the Eagles didn't want to try again with him.
No, they drafted McCouba to replace him. That's over with. Yeah, it is what it is, Mike. But somehow, the Eagles are one of the 6 teams undefeated in the National Football League.
Well, and on top of that, you talked about Tampa Bay. Real quick before we let you get out of here, they are the first team in NFL history to win on game-winning scores in the final minute of the fourth quarter in all 3 wins since the merger in 1970. It's never happened what's going on with them right now. Now, they got a field goal to win the game, but you saw what happened there. They had a blocked field goal by the Jets at the same exact time that the Eagles. I mean, it was like crazy, simultaneously.
Mike. And I'm watching the red zone because I'm trying to go back and forth, and I'm going back. I'm like, what? I'm like in awe of the whole thing because if those of us have the red zone, you see every score and you see every play, and I can't believe this just happened. And one quick story, and I'll get out of here. So I'm texting with a friend of mine, and the Eagles are getting blown out. And he goes, "At least we have the Phillies at 4:05." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. You're a good point." And he texted me after the game with an emoji, shaking his head. He could not believe it.
Yeah.
For people who are calling this the miracle at the Link one, it's not. The first one is 4th and 26. Let's not forget about Freddie Mitchell.
By the way, did you hear? They got that one, the Freddie Mitchell one, but the punt return with D-Jack. Miracle at the Meadowlands.
I was there, but this is the miracle at the Link. The first miracle at the Link, Mike, was I was at the 4th of 26. That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. How do you let this happen?
Yeah.
But the Packers will never forget that.
Well, I was going to say, the miracle at the Meadowlands had a tie to the game on Sunday. You know what it was? I revealed this yesterday with Mosher.
I'm trying to remember. I heard it. I don't know. Go ahead.
It was the last time the Eagles wore white with green pant combination.
By the way, I love those uniforms.
Yes.
I'm a big uniform guy. How sharp are those, man?
I know. That's the first time they wore them at home in 15 years.
It's Crazy.
All right, everybody. Adam Caplan's back on Friday for a preview of Eagles Buccaneers right here on 97.3 ESPN. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.